Hi, good morning, good afternoon. Thanks for joining. Everyone that's here, we're going to give it a minute for other folks to trickle in. So we'll get started and let's call it a minute or two here. And Nee, we'll just make sure you can see my screen. Is
You're
that
all
right?
set, and we
All
can hear
set.
you loud and clear, Nick.
Perfect. All right, and I saw we've had some other folks join. So why don't we go ahead and get started? So again, I want to say welcome everybody. Thanks so much for joining today's Parspec demo tailored specifically for the plumbing vertical. We're really excited to showcase our platform capabilities and get any questions that you have answered. So quick introductions. I'm Nick Destine. I'm an account executive over here at Parspec, and I'm joined by Nhi Nguyen, who's a senior customer success manager on our team. And Nhi is going to be walking through the product demo. The quick agenda for today. We'll start with a brief overview of our company and the platform and our value proposition, then jump into the live demonstration just to show you our workflows in action. And finally, we'll wrap up with Q&A and some suggested next steps. If you have any questions as we're going through the presentation and demo, please feel free to use the Q&A feature. We'll work to address them live or can save them to the end. And so to provide a quick overview here, in short, we provide a software platform with purpose-built workflow solutions for distributors and rep agencies across the MEP product categories. And we were founded in 2021 with an initial set of features designed to streamline the submittal and O&M processes. But over the last few years, we've really worked to develop the platform to support more workflows across product selection, quoting, and the submittal and O&M generation. So think of us as kind of a project's operating system. And we're currently partnering with hundreds of distributors and rep agencies. And to give you a sense of scale, our users have quoted over $20 billion of projects on the platform and sourced over 3 million products. I also wanted to quickly just highlight our 71 NPS score and our SOC 2 compliance because customer success and platform security are both extremely important to us, and they're really at the core of everything that we do. So that's the high level overview of Parspec. And to double click a little bit into what makes us unique, it's not only our purpose built workflows across product selection, quoting, and submittals, but it's our ability to index documents and data from manufacturer websites. So we have web crawlers that index over 4 million documents daily from over 4,000 manufacturer sites. And our AI can parse billions of product attributes. And really, that rich data helps to enable our core modules across the product search and selection, quoting, and the submittal and O&M workflows. And what's great about this is it's all from a single platform or a single pane of glass that can be used across your internal teams. So it really, again, gives you that single pane of glass for your projects. And before we get to the demo, we wanted to briefly share some results from a recent customer survey of ours. So 86% of the surveyed users reported that Parspec enabled them to quote faster, with an average 28% reduction in quoting time compared to the prior method. 92% reported that Parspec enabled them to create higher quality deliverables compared to their prior methods. And this is when we're thinking about both quotations and the submittals and O&Ms. 65% of users were able to bid more jobs with an average of 7.5% more jobs bid, and 61% reported a higher hit rate with about a 2.4% average increase. So we're super excited to walk through some of the workflows that are leading to these results and look forward to learning more about your business if you're open to next steps to see if we can achieve similar results with you. And now for the demonstration, just to set the stage here, the two modules that Neil will be walking through are the quoting module, so showcasing that workflow and leading up to the submittal and O&M. So with that, Neil, I'll go ahead and pause and pass it over to you for the product demo.
Awesome. Thanks, Nick, for kicking us off. Hello, everyone. Let's go ahead and get started into today's demo. I will mention, kind of echo to Nick's point earlier, if you do have any questions, any comments at any time, please feel free to utilize the Q&A feature. It should be at the very bottom of that Zoom webinar screen there. We'll all keep an eye out on it and make sure it gets addressed, whether it's during this demo or right after at the very end here. But everyone should be seeing my screen here. So the first thing once you log into Parspec is you're going to be welcomed with your dashboard. This is where we store all of your projects. We organize it in a way where it's quick to find amongst you and the rest of your team, whether it's one big project container or if you want to jump in to see a specific quote, a submittal, or O&M package that has been created here. Right before we go into the workflow, though, I do want to also showcase a couple of other features that we have within Parspec here. So I'm going to go ahead and click into this calendar icon. This is our bid board, a quick weekly visual of all the jobs due that week. If I have any team leads on the call, this is a great way to see all of your team's work as well, distribute as needed. If I click into any of these jobs here, I can get high level information of it. I click into view project and it jumps me right in there. Walking my way down here, now we get into the reporting dashboard. So you may be wondering, how can I capture things like total dollars quoted for the year, total dollars quoted for specific customers, your win rates, your hit rates? That's where the reporting dashboard comes into play. So you can see here, we capture total dollars quoted, won by customer, win and hit rates, and we also break it out by quote owners or quoters as well. So great data that you can see and capture for a specific date range, customers, quoters, and even branch locations. But I'm heading back out into the dashboard here. Let's go ahead and jump right into the workflow. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a project. It makes a whole container for me to store all of the bill of materials I need for this job. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and upload a schedule. So one, it could get stored within this project, but I can then upload that onto my bill of material. Now, what's happening behind the scene here is you're going to see this little star icon. It's letting me know that it's reading this entire schedule and it's going to start pulling the information for me and pre-fill it so I don't have to do any of that manual typing there. Things like project name, site address. Now, as I scroll down, this is where I can make any sort of updates as I need to. Things like the project stage. I want to track this within my dashboard in my bid board. So I'm moving this over into a quoting stage. And then I'm going to click into deliverables here so I can assign different ownerships. For example, I'll make myself the quote owner. I'll put in a due date. I can make Nick here the submittal owner with the following due date. I'm going to go in and create my project. We land right into the project details screen here. You can see the file, the schedule that I uploaded automatically lands and gets stored into that project files. I can leave any sort of relevant notes here for Nick later. I'm going to go ahead and scroll down here and let's go into building out our bill of materials. I'll click into create BOM. I'm going to click into this drop down. That way I can select my customer here. It does two things. One, great for tracking purposes and reporting purposes. But two, this is where the customer will populate onto your quote and onto your submittal here. For this specific opportunity here, I'm going to say that there's a total of 2 bidders. So I'm going to clicking on creating a separate bill of materials here, selecting that customer. I'm going to mark it as a linked BOM. That way, with Parspec and saving that time that Nick mentioned, rather than having to work on 2 different quotes, I'm just going to work on this primary one and have all that information flow into my second BOM here. I'm jumping into the pricing and lead time tab. This is exactly where you'll be quoting out of. And instead of entering manually, which you definitely can, I'm actually going to utilize this import products feature. Now, the reason why I emphasize on this is rather than having to have my schedule pulled up on its next screen here, I can tell the system to automatically ingest this information and transcribe it for me. So here is the schedule that's been uploaded, the drawing that's been uploaded. You can see here all these gray boxes that have already been selected for me. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make sure my plumbing schedule is being imported into the system. So I'm going to go ahead and mark this as include. Now, while this goes in and loads for me, kind of explaining to you guys how our optical character recognition works. We take every single table within that schedule and we parse it out separately here for you. Things like the wall hydrants, any pump schedules, and we map it all here. You can then decide as the quoter, what am I bringing into my bill of materials? In this case, I decided I want to bring in this plumbing fixture schedule. Now, when I go into click into column mapping, what happens here is now we are going to parse out all of these columns for you so that that way you don't have to go in and type in every single material and product within the BOM table there. So doing a lot of that heavy lifting in regards to data entry for you.
And one thing to add here too is what the parsing is doing is looking into plumbing specific, right? As the example, schedules that are more complex that could have fixtures and accessories and multiple components in one cell, let's say, and working to essentially use the AI to parse it all out. So you'll see that there would potentially be multiple products that are defined in the spec, and so we'll work to parse it out for you, so you don't have to manually go through and read it. And then a question came in just about what files we can bring into Parspec. So to
Yeah.
address that, I think it could typically be PDFs, Excel, CSV, a variety of different file types, depending on, if you're bringing in a set of plans or if you're getting a quote from a rep agency, we can bring those into the platform.
Yeah, it's a great question. And I usually get it pretty often as well. So just to echo to that point, there's different file formats that we'll be able to support. But also at the same time, I'll take my example, with a schedule. So it doesn't matter how, the columns were set, if the model number and the manufacturers or the vendors were set into a single column. At this point in time, this is where you're going to be able to essentially assign the categories or the columns together, and then be able to look at the preview before getting that to import there. So great piece there in regards to which files that you guys will get uploaded. Okay. All right. So here we go. Once the column mapping is done there, you can see we've parsed out all of those columns. Now, anything in orange is what's going to flow into your bill of material here. So here's my type, my manufacturer, the part numbers. I can also bring this in as a description. Anytime I need to assign or reassign a column, I'll just click into the header. You'll see here, you'll get a menu of options. But in my case, I'm going to go ahead and ignore this column. Once I jump into this product view here, this is kind of a quick little snapshot on what's going to be uploaded into your bill of materials. So everything looks good here. Okay, I can even create a section if I wanted to. In this case, it auto created a section for me, and I'll keep it that way for right now, but I'll go ahead and click on to confirm import. It's gonna land me right back out here into my table. All right, here's my entire list of products being uploaded. So now that you've seen the portion there of importing our products, let's go over a couple things in regards to setting up your bill of materials, and then we'll jump right into adding in pricing. So I'm going to go ahead and showcase this piece here where I'm going to break out my bill of materials by its types. So then that way it could have its breakouts in those section subtotals. I'm going to go ahead and instead of plumbing fixtures, let's call this one our P1. I'm going to create another section here, and it's going to nest right beneath that. Let's call this one P1A. And then what I can do here is I can actually take my entire list of products. So I'm holding down my shift key, it selects everything in between here. And what I'm going to do is just drag it right down here to its own separate section. That way you can see P1 now has its own breakout. I can do the exact same thing here. So I'll do this one more time to showcase it. And let's say here's where my type P2s will land. So I'm just doing a quick selection and then dragging and dropping here. And now you'll see the breakouts of each section. All right. Now let's talk about pricing. So then you can see that section breakout and that section subtotal. There are a couple ways to add in pricing. I'll scroll over so you can see all the columns that we have under this pricing and lead time tab as well. So what I can do is I can click into this cost cell here and start typing in that pricing. But what I can also do on my end is if I double click into where it says the model number, if you have your in-stock items inventory uploaded onto Parspec, what happens here is we'll recognize that vendor that manufacturer will also recognize that model number, that part number, and we're going to showcase it in this drop down for you. So then what I can do on my end here is I'm going to go ahead and select this item, and you'll see how it automatically populates that cost for me.
Yeah, Haiti, I think another question just came in about can we get this
Sure.
information from the ERPs? And to answer the question, yeah. So we would be be interested to understand what ERP are using, but the goal would be to facilitate the integration to then provide you with this data so you can quickly create your quotes. So as you can see, sort of as Nee's clicking through it, the goal is to enable your quoters to move faster, quickly reference that stock pricing, and compile their quote. So to answer the question, yes, we can do that, and happy to have a follow-up conversation there. But Nee, pass it back to you.
Awesome. Great point there, Nick. Also, a great transition for me as well. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click into this, I'll call it the $ icon. This is actually our pricing history and also shows you inventory as well. So if I click right into it, I have these two tabs, pricing history and inventory. Inventory, essentially the in-stock items there that you've uploaded, or to Nick's point, if you do have an integration there with your ERP. But within this history, within Parspec here, we do store every single project that you quote on here. Great thing for you to reference, but also if you're looking to bring in that cost. I have all of these fields here where I can take a look at. I can narrow it down by the project. I can narrow it down by the customer, when this was last quoted. So we have all of these filters and these columns that you can reference. And then what I can do on my end here is I can actually select this line item, and then I could tell the system to go ahead and reuse the cost. And you'll see that automatically gets populated into my bill of material there.
And one thing also to highlight too, with kind of like why that's important, is what we've heard is it just helps inform go-to-market strategy. So as you're working on this quotation of the bid, you just have that reference data to look at and see, is this something we've quoted recently? Did we win the job? What were the dynamics of that job? It's just really helping in the flow of work to give you more information at your disposal with your go-to-market approach. Sorry, Nee, I promise to stop cutting you off. But
No, you're all good. You're all good. Okay. So just to quickly recap what we've gone over so far, we've created that project container. We've created our two bill of materials for our two customers here. We've imported that products from our schedule. I showcased breaking it out to its different sections. That way you get that section subtotal. We talked about pricing, whether you're bringing it in from inventory, whether you're utilizing the pricing history, or just keying it into this cost column here. Now, let's fast forward a little bit, and how is it meant to look like once the moment you're done creating these sections, and then also adding in pricing here. So this would be how the breakouts would look like. I'll scroll through so you can also, again, get that section subtotal. At any point in time, if you need to make any mass changes to anything, let's just say, for example, I need a mass update, the margin or anything like that, I can always select specific sections or my entire bill of material. Utilize this bulk edit feature. Great way to just mass edit all of your line items here. And then I can go ahead and enter in that margin and get that updated for me. Okay. All right. Let's do one last thing here, and then we'll jump into creating this quote. So I'm going to go ahead and quickly jump into the document section. We'll talk about this more as we go over submittals, but I just wanted to call out a feature that we have within Parspec where we're able to pull cut sheets based on the manufacturer, if we support that, and then the model number as well. Rather than you having to go through that vendor site, look for it, search for it, and download it, we're pulling it in for you here. What I'm going to do though is I'm just going to select it. No need for annotations right now at this point in time, but I want to go ahead and bring that in. I'm going to head back to my BOM, and you can see here the cut sheet automatically gets selected for me. If I go back into my pricing and lead time tab, I'm going to go in and create my quote here. You're going to see how we can hyperlink that cut sheet to the model number. Okay. We also have any service fee, freight, and taxes that you can add on here, but let's go in and generate this quote. All right. So you can go ahead and take a look at this right-hand side here. This is going to be the preview of the quote. I'm going to go through and I'm going to make a few changes so you can also see the flexibility that we provide here. We break out all of these toggles so you can see things So if I wanted to also bring in the extended price, I can quickly do that as well. So just toggling fields on and off as I go. Okay. I'll hide some freight. Let's do the grand total here. You can see my terms and conditions have already been uploaded on here, so we can do that for you guys as well. There's no need to continue to copy and paste in notes every single time. And then we have one more spot here where you can add any sort of attachments as you need to, and it just depends right after this quote. I've seen a lot of people upload their drawings, their plans there for a quick view. Okay, so although you guys are seeing a quick little preview here, what I'm going to do is actually just generate the quote all together. And let's look at this view and talk about sharing this out with your customers. All right, let's take a look at the preview. We'll call this header and footer here. Cover page addresses the customer. Any sort of opening notes, you may notice that I did not type anything in. Any sort of notes can also be saved as a template and just auto-populates for every single quote there. Breakouts of each section. If you do have a cut sheet assigned to a line item, it is going to be hyperlinked to the model number. I can click right into that and you can see it's going to pull up the cut sheet for me.
Just a few things to add here too. It's, the goal is to provide you with a nice organized quotation that's branded to your customer. If we had 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different contractors that you're creating the quotes for, we have that linking behavior, and you can always unlink as needed. And then also for your quoters or estimators, whoever's preparing this, giving them the ability to quickly make adjustments if they want to restrict or hide certain information, like maybe we don't want to show the model number and the unit cost, right? You can quickly toggle that off or toggle it on. So just giving you flexibility to provide a consistent experience to your end customers, and then also giving your team flexibility internally to adjust and manipulate these deliverables as needed.
Yeah, 100%. And just to Nick's point there, I'll go back into the tabs here so you can see. I just had 2 bidders on this one, but to Nick's point, even you have 8 other contractors on here, you can have 8 different bill of materials, but you're still seeing here that I'm just working on one, and we can generate a quote for all 8 quickly there. And if you do need to make changes, you definitely can, but it could be as quick as just unlinking and not having to start from scratch. All right. One last thing I'll go through here before we jump into submittals. I just wanted to talk about how do I share this out with my customers once I'm done here. I highly recommend utilizing the shareable link. The reason why I talk about the shareable link is we have tracking purposes on here so you can see exactly who has opened up your quote here. I'll go ahead and just enter in my email for the time being, just as a quick example. They're not creating a Parspec account. They don't need a Parspec account. It's truly for tracking purposes, but they'll be able to see exactly what you saw on the previous screen, and the hyperlinks work the exact same way there. But if I head back into Parspec, I'm going to do a quick little refresh here. You'll see on this right-hand side exactly who has opened your quote, even downloaded your quote. So great way to track it and even nudge your customers as needed. All right. Okay, sounds good. Nick, let me know if there's anything that comes into the chat there that I can showcase, but for right now, I'll go ahead and close out of this preview. I'm going to jump into the Documents tab, and let's talk about submittals. Last thing I'll mention is you won't really see a save button around the screen here. We do auto save your very last work and click there. So anytime you need to step out and step back in, you should see exactly what you've last touched or clicked there. But now I'm in my Documents tab, and let's kind of go over how we're pulling in cut sheets, doing any sort of markups and annotations, and then compiling that submittal. So if I click on this Add button here, again, how we search for it is based on that manufacturer, and we're looking at that part number there, and that's what we're pulling up. Of course, you can always upload your own cut sheets on here as well. So if I have one saved on my desktop, I can upload it on here. You only need to upload it once, and then we auto save this to this exact product here. So the next time, let's role play a little bit, 2 months down the road, you happen to be utilizing the same product, it automatically populates into your bill of material. This time around, I am going to go ahead and click into annotate so it can land me over into my annotation screen here. couple things that I do want to call out. You will start seeing these light green highlights kind of flash around the screen. That is our AI kicking in here, where it is reading the model number and it's kind of guiding you there with any sort of markups you may need to do. So here's a green highlight where I can just click right into it, or and you can see here it automatically boxes out for me, or I can do one big full selection there. Okay. I'll
And
confirm and exit so it lands me back out into my bill of materials here. And I'll take a pause and see if there's any questions, comments.
yeah, sorry, I kind of jumped in there a little bit. And yeah, I was just going to say,
Yeah.
if anyone attending, please feel free to use that Q&A chat if you have questions. But one comment to add too is, if you ever need to make your own annotations, there are standard PDF editing capabilities within that screen as well. So we'll make the suggestions to intelligently recommend some suggestions for you or annotations for you. But if your user needs to go and add rubber stamps, highlights, callouts, whatever it might be, they have the ability to do that too.
Absolutely. And you guys can see here as I'm boxing out anything that I need to mark up or annotate, we do have presets already created for you, but you can always customize it, customize that stroke, that fill color, and that automatically becomes your default. Okay. So let's tie it back to what I mentioned before, because within Parspec, we do save every bit of work you've done. What I'm going to do here is let's fast forward a little bit. I'm going to select my entire bill of materials, and I am going to utilize this auto select feature. So what auto select is going to do here is that it's going to read and look back at my own history. It's going to look back at my entire team's history. And if anyone's ever utilized these products before, have brought in the data sheets, done any sort of markups, you can see here how it auto populates that for me. And so I don't have to start from scratch. Okay. It's just reusing that work from the past there. So now everything looks good. I can go back in and review this as I need to. But instead, let's go ahead and generate this submittal here and we'll preview it that way. So at the very top, I'll click on Create Document, Create Submittal. It lands me on to my customized screen, so I can choose in between two different templates here. I can toggle fields on and off. So just kind of going through this. Header and footer, of course, will have your own branding to this as well. But let's go ahead and generate this submittal. It's also going to land me on the preview screen. When it comes to sharing this submittal out, you can definitely utilize that shareable link. You guys know how submittals can get pretty hefty there, so I do recommend the shareable link. But then you can also, of course, just like the quote, you can also download the submittal as a PDF. Okay, so here's the cover page. Here's a table of contents. We still have your all your products broken out to its sections for you there. All of these are hyperlinks. So if I do go in to click into that hyperlink, it takes me right into the cut sheet. And as I'm clicking into it here, I also have a little footer of the index that pops me right back up here into the table of contents. Utilize the shareable link to send this out to your customers, or I can click into the share button and I can download this as a PDF. If you guys are Outlook users, we can sync your email within Outlook here and email this right out directly from Parspec. All right, I'm going to close out here and let's actually head back out into the dashboard. If any revisions or anything like that needs to be done and I need to look for that job, I can always go back right into my project tab here, search for it within the search bar, or click right into it and it'll land me right back into that job. All right.
And thanks, Nate. One thing to add too, just give you a little bit of an idea of where we're going with the platform too, is really working to deliver a full end-to-end projects operating system. And what I mean by that is we're working on delivering project management capabilities as kind of the next phase of the evolution of Parspec. And if that's something that's of interest to you too, we'd love to schedule a one-on-one conversation to showcase what that looks like and what we're building. But wanted to quickly call that out and then to Nee's point, right, about revisions and kind of like change orders, tracking all the complexities of a project, right? We want to be a strong, trusted partner for you. And again, happy to schedule a one-to-one to talk through that further. And Nee, if there's nothing else that you want to cover, I can jump into the Q&A section. But I'll take a moment. Was
Sounds
there
good.
anything else, Nee?
I am good on my end, but now I will keep an eye out on the Q&A and see if any other questions come in.
All right. So I see one. Are we able to see what's originally quoted? So I think that one's going back to with our price history module, you can see kind of historical pricing, right? If something's been quoted in the past. For a current job, yeah, you can create your bill of materials. You can have that initial pricing that you'd bring in. And then if we're tracking revisions, let's say we can create like a new version of a quote if you're making updates to it. And you can reference kind of the quote history.
Absolutely. Whether you want to look at the pricing history within the pricing lead time tab where you're quoting out of, but we also have a pricing history dashboard that you can search for certain products as needed. Great question.
Let's see. What manufacturers we support? So we currently support a database of over 4,000 today. And so we have a lot of kind of the key players, I'd say, in the plumbing space. When you think of like the Sloans, the American Standards of the world. And yeah, would love to talk through it further with you, understand who your typically preferred vendors are. And yeah, happy to have a conversation there. Nee, I don't know if there's anything else you'd add on that one.
No, spot on there.
Let's see. Any other questions, folks? Again, it's in the Q&A section down at the bottom of the Zoom screen. Can you upload pricing? Yeah. Or
Great
need you to take
question.
that?
Yeah, you absolutely can. So when I pulled up that pricing history within the quote screen there is a feature where you can import any sort of pricing sheets you have on there. We'll have a little indicator that lets them know, or any quoters know that it's been imported, so that can be used when they're building out their quotes. So absolutely.
All right. Well, I think that's it for questions. I haven't seen any others come in. So I'll just quickly flash some suggested next steps. So as I mentioned a couple of times, we'd love to have the opportunity to have a one-to-one conversation, walk through a more tailored demonstration unique to your business and requirements. And also, we love to send out the link to our newsletter so we can keep you updated on relevant updates and product development. But I'll pause there and, Nee, if you want to add anything else, or we can give everyone 12 minutes back and just super grateful to have the opportunity to present today. But Nee, how about you? Any other thoughts?
All good on my end, but just wanted to thank everyone for joining today. Please reach out if anything else comes up. Thanks, Nick.
All right. Thanks all.